Fulham won, United won. We're off and running for the season, or are we? Obviously, we lost last week to Arsenal, but that felt like a much more positive performance overall in its entirety than this one today. I'm joined by Nick. Also just gone. What's your hot take?
I don't know about hot takes, Steve, but I think I'm with you. Last week was really positive despite the result. And this week, you do come away feeling a little deflated. Great first 15 minutes, a period there towards the end of the first half. Very bold start to the second half, but then that fading away and some substitutions to discuss, both from our point of view and how Silva reacts, which ultimately led to the draw.
Let's start with the positives, like the game itself. Front foot, really sort of cohesive attack, nice one-touch movement. Fulham were chasing shadows at times, and it wouldn't have been undeserved to be a couple of goals up inside 15 minutes, and then obviously get a penalty as well. Let's focus on the good bits. What did we like? What did you like specifically about the play that sort of gave Cunha those chances?
Yeah, I mean, very direct. There seemed to be a lot of triggers at work. So, again, a high line and a fairly high press, you'd say as well. Your classic 3-4-2-1, which changes during the game, I'm sure we'll come on to. And like you've said, the Bayern deal one to Cunha just after he'd hit the post. So all of a sudden you're thinking we've had two fairly decent chances. Mount was involved as usual, which we've seen pre-season and last week, hence probably why he started the game today. Um, Bruno was on the ball, looking positive, offering his direction in his usual manner, and the play out was good. It's there's been a slight variation in the play out and a lot more use of Casemiro and Bruno. And then we've got the very the high wing backs, not necessarily all game, but certainly for that first 15-20 minute period, we've seen Dorgu and Ahmad heavily involved. So, and then like you say, coming into the centre, we create. I kind of say at times you've got Casemiro just sitting in and allowing the five to roam and to interchange positions. And at times we kind of saw a 3-4-1-2 rather than a 3-4-2-1. And when that works, it looks fantastic. The problem we've seen later on in the game is when it doesn't work, when people are not sure where to go, especially later on when Tesco comes on, it does look slightly erratic and less fluent.
So let's get into the problems then. Let's just wade into it. What went wrong?
I think Silver stuffed us out. I think he's a great tactician, as we know. He knows the league very well. He's clearly a good thinker. He's a real student of the game. And I was really pleased with Amarim's approach early in the second half. We said last week if we're going to make some substitutions, let's to impact that game, let's do that slightly earlier. And we saw that today. I think it was about 52, 53 minutes. We saw Dallo come on, which it was easy to see really. It's not that Ahmad was having a bad game. Ahmad and Bumo were lest they get going in the same spaces, which we've talked about pre-season, and not necessarily providing that overlap. Or when Ahmad did come inside and Bumo didn't then, retract to the touch line. So we knew something would happen there. You could argue the easier substitution to make would be Sesko from Bumo, but I do understand him trying to embed his key signing of the summer, or certainly, top two signs of the summer, and keeping him on to try and find a bit of momentum. But to be fair, Brian wasn't quite at the races today, and yeah, so we've gone for Dallo, we've gone for Sesko, and then Silva reacts, and boy did he do well, and certainly when we look at their goal, we'll see what Marco did well.
Yeah, let's get into that as well. Let's get into the goal. Obviously, we just started speaking a minute ago, just before we began filming. For me, there's a lot of blame to be shared around, but for you, it starts even earlier than losing possession. So talk us through it from your point of view.
Yeah, so if you look at where the actual issue comes from, it comes from Sesko not knowing when to press or who to press. So
Right.
the original move up. So this is now when Silva has countered Amarim's subs. Just I think around 8 to 9 minutes after, he's put on Harry Wilson, and he's put on the fullback, pacey fullback Robinson. And what happens is he's decided that Dallo is going to offer us, or sorry, offer them space in behind. And long and behold, that happens. So from Leno, you've got the ball out to, I think it was Anderson. The first press is good. Sesko is too deep. When the ball comes into the inverted centre back, Sesko's too late to react. Ball comes out wide. That pulls Dallo very high. Yoro and Delit follow Dallo. So you can kind of see the understanding. You see that what the work has been done on the training pitch, and you kind of applaud that kind of momentum, that impetus. But it's knowing when to do it. And I just thought, as soon as Sesko misses that second ball, there's no need for Dallo to go high. Or if he does, he perhaps has to show him the other way, knowing that Yoro and Delit are going to be pulled out through Iwobi. So it starts there. Huge gap then on that right channel, and Wilson just goes. So you've got the ball in. I can't remember. It might have been Robinson as well into Wilson, and they go. Ball comes across. You might remember Dorgu's wonderful kind of retreat, and gets the foot in the way and clears it, but doesn't clear it fantastically well. And that's when the second phase happens. And you've just said yourself there, Dallo loses the ball, and after that, it's a disaster in the penalty area.
Obviously, the ball comes in, De Ligt leaves it. Smith Rowe's run off Bruno. Bayern, but is all that not obviously Bayern Days had, he's had a lot of fingers pointed at him this week. Do a lot of the issues go away with clear communication?
Yes, I think it's harsh to pinpoint Bayern Deer on that particular goal, but general command of your 6 yard, discussing, talking with your defenders, does Dillit then leave that ball to him? I don't know. I want to make it clear that Dillit should play that ball. You look at his performance last week against Arsenal, and he was on the front foot, he was dueling, he was winning aerials, he was bringing the line high, everything you wanted in Matthias Dillit. And today started that way, but just gradually faded, which is what we see sometimes with the Dutchman. So we can talk about Bayindir on that one. I'm sure we'll speak about him on corners as well. But I think yes, Dallo's lost it far too easily, and Delit has to win that challenge. It's coming to him. There's not even a challenge to make. It's just win your header, let's clear our lines. It's old school, and it's fairly easy, to be honest with you. But I also want to mention Bruno. Despite playing well up until that point, like Arsenal last week, seemed to show real nuance in that central midfield area. Um, that is what you get with Bruno playing in that central midfield double pivot. He does let Smith Rowe just peel off him far too easily, and a top DCM, even like we said last week, a Carrick. It doesn't have to be a Keane or a Robson or an Ince or it's just knowing that central midfield function and what your role is out of possession. And Bruno just lets him peel off far too easy. So you've then got a goal which we've tried to transform that right channel with some really proactive subs, which has then ended with Silva responding almost immediately, thinking, "Oh, that's what they're trying to do. Well, I'm now going to counter that down that same channel, and we're going to score a goal from it." And that's what happened. Wilson, Robinson, Smith Rowe, bang, 1-1.
And what do you make of how we responded to the equaliser in terms of going for a winner?
Again, I'm always looking at player contribution, every single contribution, and what's actually happening out of possession. And there just seems to be this misunderstanding. So it always seems to be coming back to a framework of like a 5-2-3 out of possession, and not only does that leave us too deep, it leaves us vulnerable in the middle to big, strong kind of vertical plays through the middle against us, and it does leave then your forwards isolated. So when we were trying to, you know, play out, if you like, we tended to go too long. If Sesko and Boomer weren't holding it up, it comes straight back through the centre. and you then retreat into that low block, leaving Mbumo and Sesko up front. So, and then the spaces are just too wide. It really did, to be fair, disappoint me given last week and given the start of the game today. It disappointed me that our build, that our counter press just wasn't there today. And yeah, kudos to Seshko. He's just come on for the second time, and very hard for him as a new signing to get involved and to really show his talent. But you do have to question things today. Personally, if you're going to do Seshko, let's do it from the beginning. And then there's the question, as we've already asked, about Mbumo's form from today and the fact that Mount's playing so well. Sometimes the obvious sub is the one that's right in front of you. And I think Mbumo really struggled to get into the game today. That might be that fitness that we touched on last week. And perhaps Sesko could have come on slightly earlier in for the Cameroonian.
And the good thing, I suppose, is that we only have to wait 3 days for the next game. Just need to get out there and just get playing, get building understandings and sort of learning on the job together. I know it's Grimsby and I know it's obviously Burnley next weekend, so you would think, okay, you should be able to think, right, 2 wins. It should be a given. But obviously, we know now nothing's a given. We just need, by hook or by crook, just make progress happen now, isn't it? There's no other option really.
Yeah, and to be fair, Amarim seems to have made so much progress, and we seem to be on the precipice of something good. But if you're
Yeah.
not getting the points on the board, none of that hope matters. So it is a sadness to see that we've carried on from the Europa League final, despite some good pre-season form. And if the formation worked well, and you're creating lots of space on one side of the pitch to then switch and bring the right or left 10 into play, then the nine runs in, and balls are played forward with panache, and you go for it. The system looks good, but when we go down, or when we go 1-1 like it was today, and we're trying to create something, we're trying to keep that high line, we're trying to get Bruno involved. Sometimes we're just rushing it, we're going too long, the spaces are too big, and it really is a worry. So where do we go next? Yeah, like you say, these next two games are huge, and we're only at the start of the season.